Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where normally a couple of guys come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And we're also joined by someone very special. You may have heard from a previous episode, Hottie Doctor.
That's right.
Or, I mean...
Hottie Doctor.
I guess what an introduction.
There you go.
I guess we can go ahead and say, Hottie Doctor is my special friend.
Mm-hmm.
And,
right.
And at first, we called her Hottie Doctor to kind of give her some privacy, but she's agreed to be a co-host or, when we need, maybe for the first month and then kind of.
Right.
So I guess we can just let everybody know her government name is Miranda.
Government.
And so we don't have to call her Hottie Doctor and make her blush.
Thank goodness,
As she's doing right now.
Right.
You listeners can't see that, but she's blushing.
All right.
So, but Miranda, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good having you back again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun the last time you were here.
Yeah.
And we had to share a mic, but now we have enough mics to go around.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so, okay.
So she asked me, she said, how close am I supposed to be to the mic? And I said,
Right.
to where it tickles your nose hairs. And she says, well, you shouldn't have a problem feeling that, should you? And I was like, wow. But yeah, there you go.
Well, at least now we know that that X-Man's his ribbing is still
still there.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
still
it's
there
still
in
there.
some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep you honest.
Yeah, right. You gotta keep, what is it? I can't think of the phrase. Humble. There you go.
Humble,
gotta keep you humble.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, what are we discussing this week?
Well, I think that it might be an interesting study in psychology to have a look at what's going on with this whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial that's going on in Fairfax, Virginia right now, because no matter what news channel you turn on, it's everywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
Every social media.
I can't
everything.
scroll through YouTube
The radio.
without a clip. Yeah. I mean, because it's a big name actor that this is happening to.
Well, they're both pretty big.
Yeah.
She's probably not as big as him, but
Right.
she's got a pretty good name too.
Yeah.
She's done some really cool movies and stuff.
Yeah. I think it's also the context too.
Right.
It's the fact that it's happening in such a way to a person that I think a lot of people have a certain affinity to.
Well, I think for me, it's interesting that the way the world is and social media is, they at first believed everything she said.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
this good-looking blonde here,
Right.
attacking somebody who is eccentric. He's very, out there.
Yeah.
And the world believed her. I'm sorry.
Right.
And now that we're coming out with some of the facts, it may not be exactly like she was saying at first.
Yeah.
And so does he have real cause for $100 million defamation suit, is it?
He's suing for $50 million.
50.
She's countersuing for $100.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I see her $50 million and
So
I raise
because right when she did this article, and I forgot the publication.
It was
that
Washington
she did,
Post. She did an
Washington
op-ed piece.
Right. She didn't mention him by name.
Right.
She just said what it's like to be the survivor of sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets dropped from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
So did they drop him because of that?
Yeah.
And that's what they need to prove, because if they dropped him because of that, number one, if it's not true, she owes him a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think did they come out that was actually, or no, I guess they didn't.
They actually dropped him
yeah,
because of the article.
Exactly, yeah.
We're not going to touch you. If you're part of this
Right.
domestic abuse kind of stuff, we don't need you on this,
Right.
on our brand name. And then all of a sudden, it's not true.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
And then you're starting to realize she was the aggressor.
Right.
She was doing certain things to attack him and set him up. As soon as they decided to get this divorce, she starts doing the groundwork.
So I think I had read or heard from someplace that they were going to settle outside of court.
Right.
Yeah. Whenever everything was kind of coming out, they were settling with all of it. They were going to.
She didn't get the money she wanted.
Oh man, that's so
And
messy.
But
so-
see, that lends itself into a whole other history that they have, because she and he had already had a lawsuit in the British court system for defamation.
Oh, really?
And as part of their divorce settlement, they settled, and he paid her $7 million with the agreement that it would be donated to the ACLU and one other type of domestic abuse type of organization.
But also kept quiet.
And yes, of course, all those things always have non-disclosure.
Oh, right.
Non-disclosure clauses. But with that $7 million settlement, she has never paid that to whomever she was supposed to pay it to.
I see. And
so that is another point of contention with this, is that she's just not kept to her word about anything that she's done. And, to be honest, probably with most of these celebrities, when you date them, you're probably signing non-disclosure agreements right off the get-go.
Oh, right.
So
I would imagine that. Can you imagine walking up, Miranda, when we first started dating, I said, okay, look, I'm going to need you to fill out this form for me, and there is a $250, POS fee that, you have to pay this in case you turn out to be a POS that is non-refundable, and then sign a whole bunch of, paperwork.
Right.
That would be horrible.
And then, because my mind kind of goes in that regard to like the whole like prenuptial agreement stuff, or didn't he try to like after things had happened, he tried to do like a postnuptial thing or something?
I don't remember that one.
Supposedly, I could be wrong. Again, in the slew of information that I've heard about this situation, as I believe that after they tried to have some sort of settlement outside of court, or I think he was trying to have a postnuptial, like,
wow,
things are getting kind of crazy, let's go ahead and figure this out, so that way in case you decide to get even crazier and dip out, you can't.
She obviously wants his money.
Oh, of course.
I mean, she's a good actress, but she doesn't command his kind of money at all. She can do 10 films and not make what he makes in one. And so obviously she was wanted to get paid from this.
Right.
So, and now she's, and Miranda said something about, the truth coming out. This woman can't tell the truth. What happened with the makeup compact?
Oh, that's been big the past couple of days. Her lawyer, Elaine Bradehoff, got up in court and did this big production showcasing this Milani makeup compact, and said, my client had to carry this around the entire time of her relationship, and she became very adept at covering up all of her bruises, and each of these colors covered up a different color of the bruise depending on where it was in the healing cycle.
Oh my gosh.
And they spent hours on this in court.
Oh yeah.
And Milani came out the next day and said, sorry, but we didn't even release that product until a year after they were divorced.
Oh my gosh.
So wow. I think right there, when an attorney lies, I think that should be the judge should go, okay, this is a problem. Well, what can a judge do in that? I mean, if they came out and said that, and I know the court has to follow the whole process, but damn.
But did the attorney lie, or was the attorney just following what Amber Heard said to her?
I would think the attorney should follow. They're making everybody else do fact checking.
They should do their own
fact checking.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and say, hey, what's going on with that? Because that's huge. Because a lot of the bruising came after they split up. It was miraculously
6 days after.
6 days after. Oh really? Gosh. Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
And.
Well, and there was rumors online today that her attorney had resigned because of the whole Milani compact story.
Really?
Now that has not been confirmed, but okay. that is the online rumor that she has resigned because of that.
Yikes!
She got put on front page, because of that. You come out and you make these bold statements,
right. Especially with a story like this. There's no hiding your crimes. Well, with some
it's not the only lie, though.
No,
it's like we've seen lie after lie, and I think
the boy who cried wolf.
The tide has turned, and that Johnny Depp has overwhelming the support of the majority of the population, and I think that this is where it's interesting, looking at things from a generational level. You really only see the younger people that have support of her. Everybody else has been around the block a time or two.
Yeah.
Is seeing that this is a man that was subject to domestic violence.
Yeah.
And they both had substance abuse problems.
Right.
She had a huge one. She was cocaine, mushrooms.
He's being dragged through court about it.
Yeah.
Hers isn't being mentioned. And that's where his lawyer needs a wake-up call.
Yeah.
To pony up.
But it's really bizarre looking at how the generations are handling this differently.
Well, it's funny you said that because Jason Momoa has come out 100% in support of Johnny Depp, even to the point of saying she doesn't need to come back in the next Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
She had a big role in that, and, they're saying, oh, well, they're just saying that because Jason and Amanda didn't have chemistry on. No, he's saying, I want her out because if she can do this, what's she going to do to somebody else, in the movie, because you cry wolf, somebody's going to get burned.
But it's not crying wolf at this point because she's admitted in court and she's admitted on recordings that she hit Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Right.
And he has not been proven in a court of law to have
even
perpetuated violence
pushed
at this
her,
point.
Touched her,
but
anything.
He's lost all of his contracts for Pirates of the Caribbean. He's lost all of the, it's not Harry Potter, but it's the Grimwald.
Yes.
That whole series, the J.K. Rowling series. It's, again, another multi-million-dollar contract that he has. So he's lost all of those on the supposition that he did this. And meanwhile, she's allowed to keep all of her contracts when she's an admitted abuser.
All right.
That's the part that hurts me the most. It's like I may not know everything about Johnny Depp. I may not know him personally. But as a guy who has been in and I'm not going to say I'm in the same scenario he's in, but have been in a relationship where there was some like mental abuse going on and some things that were done. It's hard to look at this scenario knowing that there's going to be a percentage of the population that, even though he's probably innocent, will probably always look at him as this kind of offender.
Yeah, but you also have to look at what people do with their lives. How many times do you hear of Johnny Depp dressing up as Jack Sparrow and going to a cancer center where kids are dying? Just, this is going to hurt that. I mean, this is going to hurt him in his soul because he's like, why am I doing everything now? If somebody can come in and destroy me and I've done nothing, all of the good that he's doing can be hurt too, because this cat does a lot for people.
Yep.
Just that simple thing of dressing up like that and going and making kids smile that are dying, have terminal diseases, and she's trying to take that away from him.
Yep.
What if the Pirates of the Caribbean people came out and finally give him a cease and desist order not to do that anymore?
Yeah, for real.
This makes them money. This makes them fans. So, something needs to be said and done about that.
I would hope that after there is some sort of settlement, there's some sort of understanding, that I hope that those big companies, I hope deep down they would like take a second look and like really consider, going back on some of what they're doing. But I know they probably won't.
But it's like Miranda said, it's like even in our world today of sexual harassment and domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Once you cry wolf, once somebody says something, that stigma is going to be with that person forever. And now that it's federal, it follows you everywhere. You can't, sexually harass a woman or not, either way, in Florida and move to California. It's going to follow you.
Right.
That's something that's always going to be there. That persona is always going to be there.
Right.
And it doesn't go away even if you've been proven innocent. That's what's really sucked.
The recordings that I heard of her like saying, it's one thing to think this, but to say it whenever they're having an argument of some kind. And she's like, go ahead, Johnny, go ahead. You can go ahead and tell the whole world that like I hit you, that like, again, you're being abused or whatever, but they're going to believe me. They're not going to believe you. And
That's
it's
right.
like I said, it's one thing that you can be like a really shitty person and probably believe that, because deep down you're right. If you're a woman in this kind of society, that I think that you can get away with that.
But not only should she be studied as a mental, physical, so apparently sexual abuser,
right?
But her gaslighting skills are primo.
Right.
She's gaslighting this dude, even to the point of the clothes that she's wearing in the courtroom. I was watching an article about, or listening to an article about that earlier. She's trying to match his clothes, even as far as the ties and the little pin on there.
So great. Like, what is that even? Like, I don't
She's
understand.
playing games. She's trying to attack him mentally and spiritually.
Right.
Trying to gain dominance over him.
She's come off as unbalanced through this whole thing.
She definitely unbalanced.
And you look at a lot of these recordings, and she purposely bring out the camera, orchestrate things. So like she'd wind him up and turn on the camera.
Right.
And she was orchestrating things for when he was under
the influence.
Under the influence.
Yeah.
And then she'd be sitting there smirking at the camera. And, you could tell by the tone of her voice that she was making the video. She wasn't just blindly making a video so she could use it later. Right. She was making the videos with the purpose of trying to entrap him in some way or fashion.
So messed up.
And, but she has a history. She's already been arrested for domestic abuse because in her relationship before, she was with a woman before Johnny Depp. She was arrested for beating her up in the airport or something ridiculous like that.
I wonder if they'll take that into consideration, too. Has that been brought up in the trial yet? Do we know?
I hope so.
I don't know. There's, 10, 12 hours a day of testimony, and we're on day 5.
Man.
So and there's no end in sight.
Mm-hmm. Like, what's funny about that? What was that Maxwell lady with the...
yes, Ghislaine.
Maxwell Ghislaine. You couldn't see that anywhere on the news,
Right.
But here we go. We're going to put 12 hours of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, live streamed.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I mean, which one's kind of more important?
Right. Well, I think it's also, there's probably foul play there where it's like,
oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
you get ratings at that point where it's like everyone wants to tune in to see that, whereas some things try to get swept underneath the rug when it comes to other stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like I said, I feel bad because it's the situation that I was in was never to this severity, but I was definitely in a place where I was getting like mentally torn up about who I was as a person and how like my adequacy as a man in a household, which was like really messing me up. But the even bigger thing was like the fact that like I had shit thrown at me. I had my phone thrown at me, or a hand getting, but never anything that got super out of hand. But it was definitely like I knew deep down that like me retaliating in some sort of physical manner was never an option,
right?
Because of a scenario just like this one, where it is. There's no winning when it comes to that, like except for
there's only one way to win.
Yeah,
and that's walk away.
Exactly,
walk away,
and
that's it. Just walk away. But a lot of people, and that's part of the gaslighting, and that's part of the abuse. That's why they do that, so you don't feel like you're worthy to go anywhere else. That you have the strength to do something about it. And they just continue to beat you down to where they control you. And that's what it is. Amber Heard was trying to control Johnny Depp and take his money from him. That's the bottom line. And it didn't succeed because he finally got the strength to walk away.
Mm-hmm. Man.
And that's a lot, even in just regular society. Sometimes you just need the strength to walk away.
Yeah.
But think of this, since this is a show about generations, from a generational perspective. You go back as recently as the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, women had a really hard time walking away.
Oh, yeah.
Families turned a blind eye to abuse. People did not say anything. Women were just supposed to live with it. Very rarely were men the victims at that time period. It was much more common to be.
I think they were a little bit more. It's just, the stigma behind it was the men didn't say anything ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it happened a little bit more than you want. I agree with you on a lot, but I think it happened a little bit more than we know.
But now, in the current modern times, the pendulum has swung so far to the opposite side that people are thinking that men can't be the victim. You automatically have to believe the woman. And take that one step further. where we've seen recently with Will Smith and his wife.
I was going to bring that up.
The same type of situation where he was in a verbally, we don't know if there's physical abuse in that situation, but certainly there's a lot of mental abuse.
Well,
there's a lot of verbal abuse.
Openly cheated on him. I mean, how do you deal with that?
She's like cucking him publicly when, for a man in that culture, that's not something.
No.
That challenges his whole manhood.
Right.
He's one of the highest box stars,
box office
draws.
Yeah.
Thank you. And he's not got his shit together at home. Pardon my French. And that that dehumanizes him. That demands him in front of everybody.
Oh yeah.
And she almost gets her jollies off of that. We have the same thing with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And now we see it with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And it's like, is this trend where these younger girls all have this mean girl persona that they feel it's okay just to act like this?
Well, because at the end of the day, they probably can get away with it. Like we said before, is that there's no, up until right now, there's not really any downside, I guess. It's like you can have your cake and eat it too, and of course, the guy's probably just going to sit there and go, all right, that's what it is. So,
yeah.
But how many men now go to court to try to get custody arrangements of their kids or whatever else, where they've tried to leave these situations or they've been falsely accused of things so that they can't see their kids.
Yeah.
And you can see how the public opinion would just be swayed against them just naturally, because we can see what's going on publicly with some of the most famous people in this country.
Right.
Well, I can be honest with you. If I wasn't with you, and know you, I would have a body cam on all the time. If I go on a date, I'm going to have a body cam. My phone's going to be recording something. Right. I'm going to have friends in the background watching. It's just too dangerous. It's ridiculous today.
Supposedly, I looked at I don't have any numbers. I didn't really print out any evidence. But again, reading articles and trying to get information, supposedly, we're in a time now where a lot of young guys don't want to get married at all.
Right.
And it's for situations like this as well. It's probably, better for them in the long run to not have to do that. It's too hard
to get out and lose half your shit.
And because again, we live in a place right now where if you get a prenuptial agreement, it is looked at as you don't love me, which is understandable. I get that. It does kind of seem like it's like a just in case kind of thing, but it's it's like you can't have an out, but we can get married, and if I'm not happy or if I want to, I can just take half your shit. I can abuse you, and I can also leave and take half your stuff.
Right.
And that's kind of is what it is. Like I said, and so from like you were saying before, is from a time whenever there was probably or there was most certainly abuse towards women in a situation like that. That is beneficial.
Right.
But now it's it feels like you said, the pendulum is now swinging in a direction of well, now what do we do? Because now it feels like it's stacked against someone like Johnny Depp in his scenario, where it's
but also, I guess the one good thing about your generation is, and I think X-Man brought it out before, is y'all do want the truth. You're going to try to find out what that truth is, and that's what's happening in this case. Johnny Depp lost a lot when this started.
Right.
He lost jobs, he lost money, he lost friends.
Yeah.
But now it's coming out to light and it's swinging back in his favor. And, we just hope that the truth finally does come out and sets him free, and she gets her comeuppance too, because she deserves, everything that he got, she deserves tenfold because what she did was wrong.
But the sad thing is there's no repercussions for people lying in situations like this.
Yeah.
There's very few. And even if he wins his day in court, that's no guarantee that all these companies are going to hire him back.
Right.
Yeah.
It's no guarantee that public opinion will be swayed in his favor. It's no guarantee that he'll be hired by new companies because, who knows if Lloyd's of London, whoever carries his, his insurance things, they might make him uninsurable after this. So he couldn't get hired even if he's completely cleared.
Man.
It's sad that your entire life, and and he's been very vocal about trying to keep his kids out of the public eye and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This has been, this drags your whole family down.
Yeah.
So it's not just him that's affected.
I want to say one of his daughters is like speaking out and like saying some things. I don't know for sure what it was, but I think she's definitely like in favor of him.
Well, they were there watching.
I know.
They know the truth.
I had read that his daughter didn't go to their wedding because apparently, a lot of his friends already had a lot of reservations about their relationship. Johnny Depp has been someone that's been kind of like a serial monogamist throughout Hollywood.
Right.
Back, I think when I was in high school, he was dating Winona Ryder, and he was with her for several years. Then he was with Kate Moss for a few years, and then he met his wife, Vanessa Paradis, and he was with her for 12 or 14 years, and that's who he had his children with. And then on the heels of divorcing her, he started with Amber, and I think that was around 2014 that he got engaged with Amber, and he didn't marry her until 2015, and then he got divorced in 2016. So it was a very quick, volatile situation.
Really?
And as you've seen with some of these recordings, a lot of this abuse happened even before they got married.
Right.
So, his friends, his management team, they saw a lot of this behavior, this red flag behavior, but the two of them were so tied up in substance issues that they weren't listening to anybody else's advice. Like, this might not be, this is too toxic. This is not the good relationship for you.
So they divorced in 2016, and they haven't been together since then, or is a lot of the stuff they're talking about from recent years?
No, this all happened between 2014 and 2016.
Right.
And
this is the defamation case.
Wow.
From the divorce. After the divorce, she did this.
In 2018, she wrote that op-ed piece.
She wrote that
Really?
op-ed piece.
Okay.
So this is all coming from that. And, it does. You don't ask for a court date and get it a week later.
No.
It can be years later. And so this is all just coming from that, getting all the evidence together,
Really?
all the witnesses, all the people together. And it's finally coming out to light and then put out on the airwaves,
but
12 hours a day.
that came out in 2018. So that means that we're looking at almost 5 years that his career has been stalled now because of her allegations.
Jeez, that sucks. I didn't know that it was that long ago. I thought that some of this was. I remember they got divorced a while back. I didn't remember when. I mean, as most people in recent years. I mean, obviously since 2020, it just the past couple of years feel like kind of like a blur. So to hear that it's happened that long ago is a little surprising, but at the same time, it makes sense now that I'm thinking about it.
And if you want to laugh, just put the trial on for a few minutes because it's hard to tell who his lawyer is and who her lawyer is because it's just like they're both so inept and they're asking questions 5 different ways repeatedly, and he'll give the same answer like, yes, it's still that, it's still that, it's still that. I've never heard the word allegedly used more or hearsay used more.
Oh my gosh.
It is a farce. The trial is a farce, and there is no end in sight because they're dragging up every email. They've gone after friends' emails. They're just digging up so much dirt, and it's like, to what end? What is the point of this? Obviously, his career was hurt far more than hers.
Yeah.
So the number value should probably be switched, and his probably tripled or quadrupled over what. I don't think that she has the earning potential to earn $100 million in her career.
No, she doesn't.
Whereas he lost that. He was getting like $150 million from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Oh, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
So, he's probably lost out on $200 or $300 million just in the past 5 years with the different projects that he's been canned from.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. Did he that defamation suit in London or over there? Did he win that? Did they?
They settled out of court, and that was why she was supposed to pay money, from my understanding.
Interesting.
So it never got to a conclusion in the court. It just, hey, let's just keep it quiet and okay.
But I think by her taking money was some sort of, answer to the question a little bit. I'll give you some money if you keep it quiet, and then we'll just pretend like it never happened, kind of thing is what it feels.
So is that hurting?
I mean,
is it more of a let's just keep everything out of the public eye.
It probably hurt him initially, but I don't. Now that all the information's come out, and now that all the facts and recordings and everything, I mean, I don't.
He might have just been trying to protect his kids.
Oh yeah,
you know,
right. That's what I'm saying. It could be a whole, encompassing. Let's just keep
and again,
the whole thing quiet.
If we're talking about from a guy's perspective, especially talking about like we said, Will Smith and him as well, it's like I don't. To be honest, I may not be super arrogant or prideful, but like let's not shout to the whole world that I'm getting beat by my ex-wife or my wife or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very.
Nope.
It's not a very pleasant thing that I want to have with
Celebrity lawyers are not cheap. So
right.
a $7 million settlement might look as the lesser of two evils when you can think, we can drag this out for 6 months in court and that's going to cost me $10 million, or I can pay $7 million and have it go away tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. That too. Can we talk about how she...
Talk about whatever you want to.
She's shit in the bed.
Oh, God. I knew that was one of y'all. I knew one of y'all was going to bring that up.
I knew that she may have been...
Do you think she's touched?
I thought that there may have been something there, like that she probably has some sort of
mental illness.
Yeah. Well, I don't. What would you call?
She's touched.
Yeah.
The two biggest diagnoses that I see being bandied about on different medical boards that I'm on,
right,
is obviously that she has a narcissistic personality disorder.
Right.
And the second one is borderline personality disorder. And
so
they say that you can see, and this is all allegedly, we always have to, put the caveat. It's allegedly the magic
word of the day. Yeah, I was going to say.
But,
boys and girls, the word for today is allegedly.
But with borderline
we're going to do that every episode.
With borderline personality disorder, it's very common for people to swing from I love you, I love you, I love you. The second they're not getting their own way, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
That's bipolar too, though.
It is bipolar, but bipolar brings into other characteristics like shopping, and there's like a wide variety of things that you get tied in with bipolar. There's a lot of and they're not as quick with borderline. It's a very quick swinging of the pendulum.
It feels like it's like circumstantial.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay.
And we see that in these videos where she's just, I love you, Johnny. Let me take off your shoes when you get home. And I'm having a glass of whiskey waiting for you. And I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And you can't live without me. And the second that he gets tired of her BS, then she's like, oh, I hate you. You're miserable. You're fat. You're going to die a lonely old man. And, I'm going to ruin your career.
Right.
That's borderline personality disorder, where it's like just this great, where on the mood swing are you today?
Right.
And with the narcissism, we've seen that clearly, that, with her smirking at the camera over and over and over again. She's even smirking in court.
That's part of what she's doing is she's holding her hand just like he is. She's smirking at him when he speaks. She's kind of like laughing at him. It's intentional. Intentional.
It feels like I don't know. It just feels like it feels evil. Like
it does. It feels dirty. It just when you watch it, it makes you feel like you need to go have a shower because it's just like.
Well, especially whenever they're talking about something like again like her,
shitting the bed,
right? Literally and figuratively, is like she has this like almost like sadness about her, and it's almost like, are you worried that like. Are you actually like? It just makes me feel like are you acting? Are you upset because you're hearing the evidence in front of a courtroom? Like that there's no way around that. Like it's pretty direct. Like you know what I mean? Like so it's like this whole like you said this whole mind game thing of like I don't know
somebody's head to be sitting there drinking a cup of tea and going. I think I'm going to shit in his bed.
Well, I want to say,
where does that come from?
I want to say, didn't the circumstance that caused that was he said he didn't want to do something, or he said that I forgot what it was, but I want to say that he said something or did something. He wasn't at home. I think, again, I could be very, very wrong, so please.
Mattresses aren't cheap, okay? I mean, really, he doesn't have, a cheap-ass bargain-based mattress, so she craps on the dude's bed.
I want to say,
come on.
Yeah.
It's unhinged.
Yes. But what I'm saying is I want to say that her story for it was that after the act, we'll just say, she like took a picture and sent it and said that the dog did it.
Yes, but the dog was a Yorkie, like a little 4-pound Yorkie. A Yorkie's not dropping a dude like that.
3 or 4 pound poos, you know.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, like, I felt for Johnny in that situation whenever he was telling the story, because he was like, well, I've picked up the dog's fecal matter before.
You know, they say the trial would have been over, except he talked so slow. They say the trial would have been over yesterday.
Yeah. With the fact that he smirks at it, he's like, that wasn't what that was.
That wasn't what that was.
That was human
knew.
feces.
He knew.
Like, yeah.
You can tell.
But I have to wager is, didn't they share a bed?
Yes. She's pooping
she did it on his side, though.
But you're right. But you still
one mattress.
You're still
people, come on.
I don't think she cares. I think that she was just pushing a narrative,
right?
And she didn't care. It was like with his whole
even your dog
situation.
hates you enough to crap, because you know they say when animal pisses in your shoe or craps in your shoe or something like that, it's because they're mad at you or don't like you. Okay,
really?
So is she pushing the narrative of, look, even your Yorkie hates your guts, it just crapped in your bed?
Oh my God.
That's
It's
part
more
of that
gaslighting.
Yeah, more gaslighting. That's exactly what that is.
Yikes.
So, you know, is that what she's trying to, you know, push on his
It's moments like that. Like I said, whenever I heard about that, I knew that there was probably something there, that there's probably some sort of personality thing. There's something that I don't understand. But it was after hearing about that, that she did that act, that I was like, I don't think I will ever really understand I don't think I'll ever connect with on like an emotional or like understanding, like it, because I just feel like it's so.
When I watch the clips of her, what it reminds me of, if you've ever watched like IDTV, you know, those investigation discovery kind of things, where they're covering these like Eileen Wuornos or Carla Homolka, these like murderesses, you know, that have gone and created these heinous crimes, and how manipulative they were. And when you watch her in action in those videos and in the courtroom, it reminds me exactly of those serial killers, and it's the same narcissism, and it's that same manipulative behavior where you can see that it's like they're playing this chess game, and it's like how are they moving the pieces? How can they hurt somebody as much as physically possible,
right?
And mentally
and
spiritually. She's trying to destroy this guy.
Come to find out, with my situation, talking about personality disorder, the person that I was with actually got help eventually, and it was a personality, like a disorder or some situation. So it's interesting, the correlation between the two situations, that I was on the receiving end of something that's not probably as big or as violent.
She didn't crap on your bed.
No, okay. but it definitely had said some pretty ridiculous things that I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about in this scenario. But again, it was same sort of thing. Is like if I had said something wrong or was not having it, it was like everything was going okay, and then it would just like swing into this like
abusive situation.
Yeah. Oh, it would make me feel like lesser of a man because of the situation. And I was like, man, this is not. It took me losing a lot of money, just being in a real bad spot and going like, this is not for me. I need to get help.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing I did was walk away.
Walk away. I mean, you know,
I wonder if that'll be a good thing that comes from this, because I do think that, and I hope that this ends up being found in his favor, because all the evidence points to that at this point.
Right.
I do wonder, though, if going forward, if more men will be willing to step forward and say, this is happening to me, or I need help to escape this type of situation, because it won't be seen as much of a challenge against their manhood.
Right, exactly.
That would be something that would at least be beneficial that could come from this.
Right.
That was what I was saying initially, was I hope that he can still have a successful career after this, despite all of it. But to parlay that as well is the same situations, that I hope that more people in a situation like that can have friends or family, or, you know.
Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall or be listening to that phone conversation when the producers and directors of Pirates call him back up and say, hey, Johnny,
psych.
Yeah, I know we kind of went this other direction, but you want to come back and play with us? think about that. You know, that's gotta suck. And for him, he's going, okay, now I got you in the palm of my hand,
right?
Because I made that series,
right?
If it wouldn't have been for Johnny Depp, you wouldn't have had Pirates of the Caribbean. It was a good show.
Yeah.
All of the characters played really good parts, but if you didn't have Captain Jack Sparrow, you didn't have that movie series.
Well, last night, remember, we were watching something, and it was other actors that were in that series with him were saying, if he's out, we're out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're wherever Johnny goes, I go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Hollywood has stepped up and is supporting him. There's very few people that are supporting her side of things.
A lot of people in that Aquaman series are doing that too. A lot of them. They're saying, "Whoa, hold on, wait a minute,"
And that gives me hope, because not only is there, I think I really hope that if this goes in, because I think at the time of recording, there's no real verdict right now. Right?
No,
so I really hope this goes in his favor, because again, with all the evidence being in his favor, I don't mean this in a mean or derogatory way. It feels like the perfect storm for this scenario. It's like he didn't react in a way that makes him. He didn't physically, or there's no evidence, quote unquote, of him getting violent with her in any capacity. He's walking away. All these things.
All of the evidence is against her.
And what I'm saying is that yes, and like he has a good track record of being a decent person.
A good guy.
Yeah. Is that people that love to work with him, and whatever he's going, I'm going to go as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that is telling in some ways, that these big companies and Amber and all these people can do all these things, but at the end of the day, he's got people that care about him, and because I know he's worked with a lot of people. So I hope that is beneficial in his favor in the future. So
I hope it comes
out. Even if he doesn't get like a Disney contract back, even if he doesn't get Jack Sparrow back or whatever, is that I hope that this can spark something new, a new, even bigger and better character, or something even more beneficial for him in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go out on a limb, because I remember your Gabby Patino episode.
Yeah.
You guys made some predictions, and every single one came true. It was uncanny. Every single one came true.
We did do a good job.
And so, looking at this, because right now we're recording almost a week before this episode is going to air. So by the time this airs, there's going to be a lot more information about this trial that's come out.
I think we need to go ahead and agree that maybe we need to do part 2 when the verdict comes out. And maybe the three of us agree to sit back down and do that. And so we can rehash all of this stuff. But go ahead and finish what you got to say.
So do either of you have any predictions about what insanity we are going to continue to see in this trial, or any predictions moving forward of what we might have happen with their careers or anything else because of that?
I think it's going to go in his favor, and I think she's going to lose her mind in the courtroom.
Interesting. I think, if I'm being real, if I'm not being optimistic at all, and I'm trying to be as real as I can be, I think that he's probably going to win the case, but I don't think that she's going to leave empty-handed. She's going to get something out of it, I think.
I can see that, because a lot of these judges are so woke that they don't ever want to admit that.
In my own personal opinion, like the justice of the situation, like her having to pay for what she's done and getting...
I could see that in a criminal case.
Right.
This is not a criminal case. This is a civil case where he's suing her for defamation of character. If he wins, he gets paid.
But does she have $50 million to pay him? It might be uncollectible.
It may be, but what I'm saying is he can't win and she get paid in this. That's not how this works. He's suing her for damages for what she said was not true, which is defamation. Now you need to pay me. So he either wins or he loses. Now if he loses, he's got to pay her because she has that one. So this is a win or lose situation.
And that was just my speculation. I don't know how. I don't know the logistics. I'm not saying I can actually tell the future.
I would hate for her to somehow
gain from this. I'm not saying, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think she's going to come out on top, but I believe that Johnny Depp is probably going to win the case in some capacity, but she's not going to be the one leaving empty-handed. Like there's going to be some kind of, in my own personal opinion, I feel in this situation, like you said, with how woke culture is and how things that are going, I can see her getting some sort of benefit out of this as well. Or if nothing else, is not released from movies or is not punished in some serious way, like I would hope. That's just
I could see that. I could see her not doing, but I don't think she's going to walk away with money.
Oh, yeah, maybe
not. I think, hey, we're going to wash our hands. They're going to say, you owe him $50 million. She's going to declare bankruptcy. She doesn't have it. And she's got to start her own life over. Right. And then she'll just do some movies and be okay. I could see that.
Right.
What do we do for him?
Yeah.
What are we going to do for him? Because this is wrong. Everything she's done is wrong.
Right. And again, if I was to predict that as well, I don't think big companies would want to double down or want to go back on their word.
Right.
They've already released him. I think that's just there's no backsies on that. They're probably just gonna. But that's what I'm hoping to say is that I hope he does have a fruitful career past this, despite all this, is that people can, that he still is a great actor. He still is wonderful to watch. I think personally, he's a great artist. Like I said, despite lifestyle choices or...
Did you like Mordecai?
I don't ever watched that.
Oh, dear Lord.
I've never seen it either.
What's wrong with you people?
Don't judge me now. Hey,
I got it. I'm going to give it to you.
Okay, yeah. And I've watched actually a handful of Johnny Depp films, and I think, I have dabbled in acting for a while, but I'm an artist in my own right in a different way, and to see him just go full in on something and really...
He becomes the character,
right?
Well, whether it was Edward Scissorhands,
yes.
whatever character he's done, he immerses himself so much in that,
right?
That
he's one of the few that does that, like stays in character the whole time,
right?
That I say insane in a great way. That's amazing,
right?
But I guess that's how you're really good too, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this lady's going to be marketable to any film after this, because it's like with just what we've seen so far in the courtroom. It's just beyond.
The trust is going to be gone. If you could do that to him, what are you going to do to us if we say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing?
I not to say that I really care in the grand scheme of things, but like her love life is like you got like not one but two. Like
that's like dating a Kardashian. You know what's the cat who is dating or married to one of them now who says I'm not going to be on the show.
Are you talking about Kanye?
No,
because
he's
was
another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? Where you destroy your manhood, emasculate, emasculate.
Yeah.
Every man that shows up on there winds up being emasculated.
Right.
I mean, who in their right mind would date one of these women and then be on their show?
I'm just talking about.
You saw what happened to Bruce Jenner. It was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not just Bruce Jenner. There's been a couple of guys in there.
I'm just talking about the fact that like her, I mean, there may be some guy or girl out there that may turn a blind eye, but it's like if you have not one but two domestic violence cases, it's like you got to really be like trying your best to be a different person in your actual life after that. Before I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and let's get married, because I'm like I don't want to do that. But just personally, like I said, I don't know nobody.
No, I agree.
Else.
Yeah, hell no.
Or again, like I said, if we're just even roles reverse. I mean, even if a guy was in that scenario, it's like I want to see you try and find a girl that wants to marry you. If you have
when Miranda said she wanted to talk about the psychology of it, there's people that thrive off of those relationships. They look for people like that. So there's always somebody out there for somebody.
She comes off as an opportunist because, she's gone from one relationship to the next. Whenever somebody bigger box star, bigger income comes along, that's who she's moved on to. And we are going to be seeing in court Elon Musk, he's on the witness list because he was one of the people also with James Franco that had affairs with her while she was married to Johnny Depp.
Oh, really?
And supposedly we are going to see that because she has a child that she had via surrogate, but supposedly it was her and Elon's. So he's signed off on that, but there's like this potential court drama between the two of them because they're fighting over the eggs that they, or fetuses that they had.
Man, that sounds messy.
Done up when they were dating.
Yeah,
but it's just like I think that the shock factor of what's coming, I don't even think we've touched the surface so far.
No, I don't either.
I think when Elon gets onto the stand, just think they're going to have a heyday asking him questions.
Oh, man. I didn't even know that aspect of it.
Yeah.
That is a whole another can of worms. Oh, man. Wow.
She was not a very nice person.
Well, I mean,
that's
evidence
the
has
bottom
supported
line.
that.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Word for the day, boys and girls, is alleged.
Other one you said? You said there was allegedly and then I can't think
I'll
of it.
think of it.
Yeah, you said another one.
Yes.
That there's two words that she heard a whole lot in this case. One was allegedly and the other one was hypothetically or something. I don't know.
No,
anyways.
but it was
it
was in the same vein.
Yes.
But
that's funny. Man.
What's the old saying? I wanted to get up and clean my house, but then I just watch a episode of Hoarders and I go, wow, this looks really good. If your life is a mess, all you got to do is watch this TV show and you're going, my life may not be such a mess.
You know what?
I need to be thankful for what I got because I'm not in that situation.
Yeah. I'm not perfect, but
and it goes to show
you
money cannot buy you happiness.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
It really can't. It can buy you a puppy dog, and that's kind of like happiness.
Right.
But money does not.
Well, my stepfather always used to say, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it beats what comes second. So, in this situation, we've seen you can have all the money in the world, but if you've tied yourself up where you can't enjoy it because you've got drug addiction and alcohol addiction and toxic relationships, you're no further ahead than somebody that's, pauper poor and, has the love of their life with them.
Yeah.
But,
that would be me. Pauper poor, loving my life.
I was going to say, you guys were talking about all these phrases about all that, and I was like, my dad always used to tell me, you can put shit in one hand and you can put want in another, and I want you to tell me which one
weighs more,
which one fills up faster. And I was like, oh man, that's so bad and very apt for this discussion.
Yep. Man,
it's sad. It's really sad. And that's a takeaway from watching this courtroom drama unfold is that he comes off as just a broken man. You already mentioned he speaks slowly. He's frustrated.
Yep.
He's getting interrupted nonstop. It's hard for him to even finish a sentence without being interrupted. And then he's asked the most ridiculous and redundant questions, yet she's given her free-for-all to sit up there and boo-hoo and, shed her crocodile tears for the camera.
Right.
It's the whole process has been thoroughly unfair.
Didn't they ask him something about the drugs like 10 times in a row and just rephrase the question, the same question, like repeatedly just rephrase, I've already answered your question. I said
hearsay.
Yes.
That was the other word.
Hearsay. Yeah.
We get her there.
We got it.
So, but I've already answered your question. I said yes.
Yeah.
But then they go right then again and ask it again. And he says, I just answered it.
Right.
Or should I say, I just answered it.
Right.
Because he talks so slow.
What makes me curious, just thinking about this, do you think anything's going to come about from Will Smith and Jada and all that?
Oh, I don't think they'll be together much longer.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, I think they're done. I think she's destroyed his manhood so much.
Right.
He tried to take it back. And it's like Denzel Washington says, when you think you're at your best, the devil's going to come get you. And he got him. And I think that he tried to push his manhood and did it in an incorrect way. And I think he'll be done with her. Yep.
I was like, again, it just made me think about how
she's paraded their relationship and her affairs in front of the world.
Yeah.
And has degraded him in the process. And, he's always maintained a very private persona. She's dragged him onto her was it the Red Table Show?
Something like that, yeah.
She's dragged him onto that. She's recorded him where he's asked her, like, please get that camera out of my face.
Right.
Like, I don't do this kind of stuff. Like, my social media is my brand.
Right.
And it's like she's doing it to goad him or to spite him. So I would agree. I think we're going to see a very public breakup between those two, especially the kids are both gone. And I think both of those kids
you're right.
both filed for emancipation when they were like 14 years old.
Really?
So, and now they're both, 18, 19. They're
Right,
they're
right.
well into the adult realm. There's no reason to stay together because of the kids. And supposedly they've left the Scientology and, all the other kind of stuff that those two were tied up in. So there's no real reason for them to stay together, especially when she keeps publicly humiliating him.
Oh, of course. And so that was my question was, now that all of this is happening, especially if it goes in Johnny Depp's favor, would there be a kind of turn like for him as well? Like you were saying, like an opportunity to see there's another successful person out there that is, doing okay for himself after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could do that as well.
Right.
After all the stuff that happened.
There's rumors that he had an affair with Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
What was the series that they were in together?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide
Yes.
Squad.
Right.
And
You saw that one, right?
Most of it, I think.
Oh, dear Lord. Don't you have a podcast about movies?
Yes, I do.
What's it called? The Aftermath?
The Aftermath.
All about movies, right?
Yes, and we've done a great job watching a lot of movies.
Actually, I enjoy listening to it. It's really good.
I'm glad.
Y'all do get into some good stuff, but I got a movie list for you, dog.
Right.
I need you to.
I'm glad we've done over 100 episodes of movies that I have not watched before, so I'm well versed. But again, there's a lot more to tackle, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But to continue, like in Will Smith's case, I wouldn't be surprised if there also is some sort of personality situation with Jada. Again, I don't know anything, so take that with a grain of salt. Allegedly, if we're using our buzzword of the day, is the like a very similar situation of gaslighting
Yes.
and making you feel a certain way and degrading you, because that was a similar situation that I was in. I'll be transparent. I wasn't adequate, and so she had turned to other people for that kind of thing, and and again would make me feel like shit about it, and I was like, that's not true, but okay. And so that was very much like these subtle things that would like really started like planting these seeds of distrust until there was a point in time where I was like, I don't believe anything you're saying. Mm-hmm. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Right.
And it was all about this whole like, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. And it's like, I don't even know what I believe of myself anymore. So
I'm really sorry you had to go through that. I've been through a couple of bad relationships.
Right.
And they're no fun.
Yeah.
But all I can tell you is when you finally find the right one,
all right.
It's worth it.
Exactly. And trust me when I say I picked myself up, dust myself off. My family was here for me. Mm-hmm. And it took some getting back on my feet a little bit and some, it took me like getting myself a job back, getting some money saved back up, and really like getting stable again.
Build your confidence back up.
Exactly. Is it like, no, I am enough. I am good enough. I can show love and I can be love to somebody again, because there was a point in time where that wasn't the case. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like with potentially Jada's situation or Amber Heard's situation, is this sort of,
There's a saying I heard somewhere that you'll never be enough for the wrong person, but you'll be more than enough for the right person.
Right.
And I don't think either one of those men understand what's happening. They really, in their heart, they just want the best thing. They want a good spouse, and they have just destroyed them, like that person tried to do to you, taking away your manhood, like other people have done in other relationships.
Yeah.
Even I've gone through some bad relationships.
And it was interesting this week, talking to some other guys that I've had the opportunity to kind of talk with on this sort of more intimate situation, I would say, is how many guys have also been in a very similar situation where it's like things escalate, hands are being thrown, and I can't do that. That's not me. And it was kind kind of surprising how many people that were like, oh yeah, I've been slapped right upside the face. And, and you can't retaliate because that's domestic abuse. But on the other end, it was okay for me to get slapped across the face, even though we all were sitting there talking like, no, it wasn't. But
right.
Yeah. So, but anyways, it was just that kind of, I think it happens probably more than we think it does in both cases, probably men to women and women to men.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with speaking out against it.
I've been hit once in a relationship.
Yeah. So, see, there you go.
I had something called a go bag by the door, and I just turned around and I grabbed the to-go bag and I left everything there.
Wow.
Just left, and then you get the 75 phone calls over the next week. Like, where'd you go?
Yeah.
You hit me.
Right.
If you can do that,
yeah,
you don't deserve me.
Right.
Because I didn't push you to that point. You pushed you to that point.
Right.
Now, I'm comfortable with violence. Okay. But it has to be in the right scenario. And that's not it. If you're with somebody that wants to be, walk away. Just walk away.
Right.
Find somebody. Somebody will help you. Call the police. Call 911 and order a pizza. They know what that means. There's a couple of things. There's even in a bar, if you're in a bad situation, but you can order an angel shot or something like that. There's people out there that will help you. Get out.
Right.
Walk away and get out.
Yeah.
Call the domestic hotline. I wish we had that number. We could, maybe we'll add it in. Can we?
I believe we can. Yeah.
We can add it into show notes, or even maybe if you feel like doing your little thing like you do in the beginning, just say something about it. Domestic hotline, 1-800 such and such.
Right.
Get help.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Mm-hmm. I know it feels like it sometimes, but you aren't.
Right.
So
and the thing, for me, the only thing I can say, because of the life that I've lived and because I'm an adult male in this situation, I can only speak from my own personal understanding in that it is okay to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest about a situation like that. It is hard, and I understand that. A lot of times there's time, there's money, I don't even understand this scenario, but kids sometimes maybe in a scenario like that, and I don't understand that, but there's, like Stoney had said, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with
I went ahead and pulled it up, if y'all don't mind. The nationwide, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. And if you want to SMS it, you can text START to 88788. So that's 1-800-799-7233. Reach out. Get some help, talk to somebody, and get out. Just walk away.
Tomorrow's always a new day.
Tomorrow is a new day. That's right.
Right. Trust me, it gets better.
Yes, it does.
There is better. But anyways.
And I think what people have to remember is when somebody does something to you, it's not a reflection on who you are. It's a reflection on them and what they're lacking in their personhood.
Right.
Because people that are whole, happy people don't go around hurting other people.
That's right.
Right. That's some good stuff.
Love that. Yep.
Way to hit it home right there at the end.
Yes. Isn't she awesome?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if we offended anybody in this episode, but maybe we offended somebody.
Maybe we offended the abusers.
There you go.
Maybe we could offend a whole lot of people this time.
Right. We're probably going to have a cease and desist from Amber Heard and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Probably.
I'll frame it. Don't worry.
Yes.
It'll be nice.
Yes. We'll put it right next to the whiteboard.
Right.
We have another one, cease and desist from Pfizer, don't we?
Have
we put it up yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. We'll get a collection.
A collection of cease and desist letters.
Yes, indeed.
But anyways, if you're trying to find us, you can type in Retrospect Pod on Facebook, and you should be able to reach out to us that way and talk to us in some capacity. Or you can type in Linktree/Retrospect Pod, and you can find all of our links to all the types of ways that you can listen to us or get in contact with us.
And we're on YouTube too.
We are.
Also, aren't we?
Yes.
So you can go to YouTube and type in Retrospect.
Yeah,
or is it Retrospect Pod?
Podcast.
And we'll be there too. It's no really visual, but it's all audio with our nice little blue picture on there.
It is.
Some people can listen that way. I think my little brother listens to us that way, and a couple other people. So
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. That is all correct.
And listeners are always welcome to send suggestions for topics,
yes,
especially through Facebook. We love to hear from them there.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Peace.